Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another of the Talkaholic text series. This is Talkaholic's text number 7. And oh, have I got a good one for you tonight. We're going to talk all about the news. So, before we begin, if you don't know me, my name is Jon-Eric. I'm a verbaling teacher from New York, but I'm hanging out today from Lisbon, Portugal. 3 rules to help you in my class. Turn off. That means turn off your microphone. Tune in. That means tune into or pay attention to the new words you're going to learn and try to use them as actively as possible. And rule 3 is open up. Open up means open up to your classmates. Don't be closed. Be open. Remember, the more secure you feel, the more you speak, the more feedback I can give you, and that's where you're really going to learn. Well, that and practice. And just a quick note for premium members. If you're a premium member, you know you can reserve a place in the class. But if you're not, all you need to do is go to the top of your verbaling page where you see Get Reservations, and you have a variety of ways to reserve a place in class and try out being a premium member. You can send out invitations. There's a video there to watch. Quite a few things. So give it a shot. And the more time you spend with the teacher, especially in the beginning, the more we get to know you, and then we can start to help you out in a much more personalized way. We've got a lot of other good things coming up. You may have noticed that we have courses. That's a new feature, and we're testing out our very first course in the coming days, so we'll see how that goes. But we're going to be opening up new ones in the future. So lots of exciting things happening here on Verbling. But without further ado, let's say hello to, who is it? Oh, Mr. Mario. Hello, Mario. How are you?
Hello. How are you, teacher?
Very good, very good. And Mario, tell us where you're from, because I think you're a new face. I'm not sure if I've had you in my class before.
I maybe once, I think.
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah,
a long time ago, yes. I'm from France.
You're from France. Excellent. Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
And Mr. Mario, what do you do for a living?
For living, you mean what do I do?
Yeah, what do you do, or what do you do for a living? I can ask it both ways.
Okay. Okay, I didn't know that way. Okay, great. So I'm working in a small post-production company.
Ah, so you do like editing and sound effects and that kind of thing?
Yes, as manager, yes.
Ah, excellent.
Yeah.
So my question to you and to the group as we do this very interesting article, I think it's interesting. We'll talk about what kind of article it is. But my first question is, have you ever considered being a newscaster or being a journalist? And let's start with you. Have you ever considered working in the news?
No.
Interesting.
No.
Because?
Because it's not my things, I think. I'm not really aware about media, company news, things like this. Okay, it's okay just to have some news just like that, but to be with my own profession, I don't think.
Ah, okay. So it's not your cup of tea, as we say in English.
Cup of tea.
Not your cup of tea.
Interesting. Okay.
You and the writer of the article have a lot in common. We're going to find out why in just a moment. Let's say a quick hello to a new face, Mr. I think I've had you before, Mr. Osama. I think we've had you in class before.
No, first time.
Ah, okay. Hello. Maybe it was another Osama. How are you?
I am fine, thank you.
Excellent. And where are you hanging out from?
From Egypt.
From Egypt. Fantastic. So, are you a journalist?
What is Mingo's journalist?
Ah, take a look in the chat window. Journalist. chat like this. Take a look in the chat window. And earlier, I asked Mario if he would like to be a newscaster. So you've got those two words in the chat window. What does a journalist do? This is for the whole group. A journalist does what? Writes in a journal?
Interview people.
Interviews people. Very good, Selma, right? So what's another word for journalist besides journalist?
Interviewer.
Writes articles in the newspapers.
Okay, so a journalist writes articles. We can also say an
Reporter.
Interviewer, because I heard someone say that interviewer. If the person is doing the interview, they are the interviewer, right? And Mario, I think you added something there?
Reporter.
Reporter, right. Reporter. So journalist, reporter. And what's the difference between a newscaster and a reporter? Is there any difference, or is it the same thing?
A reporter, I think this man is going on to the field.
Out in the field, right.
In the field, okay. And newscaster is someone who's just work on TV and
Absolutely.
give news to everybody.
Right. Not just give news, but casts the news. Broadcasts the news. So the key word is cast, right? Cast
Okay.
meaning to send. Think about fishing. If you're fishing, you have to cast out the line to catch the fish, and then you reel it in, right? So cast means to send or transmit. So that's the key word, the key idea. If you're a newscaster, you're somehow in a medium that allows you to send a signal, like television. Okay, so welcome back to class, Selma. We had you earlier, and Ahmed and Hazel. Nice to have you back.
Nice to be here.
I posted the article. By the way, just a quick word to, first of all, Osama, I'm just going to mute your microphone temporarily because I'm hearing children in the background, so I'm getting lots of noise. Okay, but Osama, you can turn your microphone on when you're ready to speak. And a quick word to Telfik in the back. You can join the class, okay, just by pressing the join button. So I can't really talk to people in the chat room because unless we have a quiet moment, but otherwise I'm not going to be able to follow the chat box. But you can join the class. Okay, so, and we've got Maria, who I haven't seen in a very long time. Long time no see, Maria.
Hi, nice to see.
Maria from Denmark, right?
No, Sweden.
Oh, Sweden, right. I don't know why I was
Yes.
thinking.
Yeah, because I live near Denmark. I have probably talked about that sometime.
No, I went to school. No, I used to teach with a woman named Maria who was from Denmark, which was
Okay.
very odd because we're in Portugal and every woman traditionally has the name Maria in Portugal, but she wasn't Portuguese. Anyway, so that's why I keep getting you confused. But yes, I knew you were up there somewhere where it's cold.
Cold and dark, yes.
Cold and dark. But in the summer, it's very, well, not warm, but not cold and light.
Yeah, it's very light.
It's very light in the summer. I was there, I remember.
Yeah.
So did any of you get a chance to read the article I posted already?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, I've read it.
Okay. If you didn't, it's not a problem, but what I'm going to do is post a worksheet that has the article in it, and I also put the article, but I'm going to put this worksheet for you to open. That's the main thing. So the article's in there. You don't have to have it open. Okay, so open that. And I was asking you about, what was I asking you? And I'd like to try a little experiment. I'm going to put at the bottom of this page, I'm going to create a little chart for you. One of the things I'd like to start doing is to give you important, I've got under links it says keywords and connectors to do. Well, we're going to do it today in an improvised way. I want to start to give you keywords and connectors. Connectors are words that link ideas together. And especially when we're speaking, right, we have to use, let's say, one type of connector to introduce something, or to finish or summarize. And inside of a sentence, especially when we're writing, we might use a different kind of connector to link the parts of the sentence together. These things are very hard to teach. Or they're very hard to learn, not to teach, sorry. They're very hard to learn because they're the words that we ignore when we're looking for the meaning of a text. So I'd like to start giving you these words in a very active way and have you use them as we have our debate. Sorry, there was a question and I cut you off.
Sorry. Can you put your link in the chat?
It is in the chat window, but I'll put it in the Google chat.
Class. Yeah, this
Okay.
one is okay.
All right.
Because mine not working.
No problem. Okay, so we're not going to. This text is actually quite short. We could read it, but what I'd like to do is I'd rather pick excerpts from the text to read when they're relevant to a question. So I'd rather focus on, this is a class where you should become addicted to speaking, not me. I speak too much. You. So I'd like to start with a few comprehension questions, all right, and then we're going to dive right into the discussion, and we're only going to read the parts of the article that are relevant. So that's the plan. So, can anyone name at least 4 ways that news is bad for you? That's our first question. According to the author. According to the author. What did you get out of the article?
News is misleading. News.
Misleading, okay.
I wouldn't agree with that. I'm
We don't-
sorry, this is not a debate, but
It is
I
a
mean-
debate. It is a debate, but right now we're going to answer the questions according to what the author thought of the article. Okay? So I don't. Well, do I think it's misleading? No, I do think it's misleading. I agree. But
Kills creativity.
kills creativity was another idea, right?
Yes.
Makes us passive.
Yes.
Makes us passive. Okay, and Selma, can you put that into reality for us? Like what? So what? What does that mean? Makes us passive. What would active look like if you were engaged in the news? What would active look like?
You may bring up some news. You may, for instance, have interviews with the people. You debate.
Right, you might
different
actively
topics.
debate the topics like we're doing here. Right. So that's active. And passive would mean what? This is for the whole group. Anyone can answer. Ahmed, what would an example of passive be?
You
Talking
just
about the
become you just become like a receiver,
Like,
someone
right.
who receive just and pass the news.
Right.
Yeah,
Sort of.
like it is. I mean, he doesn't criticize. He doesn't comment. He doesn't. He might add, but maybe just to make it just more to make it worse. Just,
Yeah. Well, yeah, depending on your perspective. If you're selling newspapers, maybe, or TV news, maybe that's better. But from our point of view, worse, absolutely. And I like the point that you just made, because that's not so obvious. That's a good point. So you said, so summarize again. If you're passive, what's the bad part of that? You picked up something there that I want to just repeat. We don't do what?
You're not active.
Yeah.
And we don't think.
We don't think. Yeah.
yeah.
Take what they say in the article usually.
We take what they say. What's the expression in English? This is a good expression. We take what they say at this face. At face what? What something is worth is also its what?
valuable.
Say again?
Value.
Value. Good. So the
Value.
expression is at face value. At face value. So we take things at face value. Okay. So that's being passive. Okay, sounds good so far. That's what the author said. whether or not we agree with the author. But those are was that 3 or 4? I don't know. Oh, someone said kills creativity. That's interesting. I think that was you, Hazel, wasn't it?
Yes.
Kills creativity. She says with her Antonin Gaudi picture, speaking about creativity, can you think of a way, according to the author, that it kills creativity?
The author says that usually people have creativity more when they are young, and so when the brain is kind of empty,
Right.
and with the brain, we fill the brain with all kind of junk news. We cannot think with our brain and create new things.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And he has a very interesting article, not article, but paragraph about the memory, where he talks about this.
Yes, long-term memory and short-term memory. If he says that the long-term memory is how do I say, is unlimited, but
Right.
the short-term memory is
Well, the
small,
opposite.
is small, exactly. Its opposite
Limited.
is small, is limited, and if we don't put that new memories, we have to pass them into long-term memories. Then
Great. Let me interrupt you just for a second. So he's talking about getting blocked or blocking our long-term memory, right? He's talking about blocking it, and we would block it because we're getting so much what? So much.
so much unnecessary news, unnecessary.
It's like information, so much unnecessary news, so much information, right? Rather than knowledge about the world. It's just pure information. So that's blocking us. We don't have time to do what? We don't have time
to transfer the knowledge and from the short-term memory to the long-term memory.
Right. And that's called
analyze.
Right.
Yes.
Analyze or think critically. Right? Think critically. In other words, you need to have focus. And if you're overwhelmed, if you're constantly overwhelmed with information, there's no time to focus, and focus is where you think. Let me just say a quick hello to João Jr. Hello, João. Thanks for joining us, because I saw you entered a little late.
Hello.
Hi, João.
Yes, teacher. Hi.
And you're hanging out from where? From Brazil?
Yes, I'm from Piauí State, Brazil.
Wow. Okay. And is that you holding the sun in the picture? Just out of curiosity.
Yes, no. It's just a picture that I found on Google Pictures, and I put it, but it's not me.
All of you have got to learn this lesson. When I make outrageous statements, you're supposed to say yes. Yes, that's me holding the sun. Let's say a quick hello to Madhu or Mado. I don't know how you say your name, because I know you just joined us, so I want to say a quick hello. Hello, Mado.
Yeah.
Hi, Mado. Am I saying your name right?
Yeah. I can hear you.
Great. Where are you from, Mado?
I'm from Egypt.
You're from Egypt. Okay. Nice to have you here. There's a link in the chat window, right? You can open it right now if you don't have it open. And João, also, you can open that link. Before class, I posted an article. It's a short article. We're not going to read it. We're going to have the discussion of the article in class. But we are going to read certain passages from the article that are relevant. Okay, so open that up and you'll see the article. Right now, I'm asking some of the comprehension questions for people who have read it, but it's a good introduction for you as well to get a sense. Our discussion is going to be about whether news is good for you or bad for you. Does anyone know the answer to the second question? What are the bright colored candies of the mind. What does the author mean by that?
I think exactly what I talked before about the junk news, which are not useful for us.
Right. Another way to say food that's bad for you
Exactly.
is not
News bad for our brains.
right. So just like we have junk news, we also have junk food.
Junk
right?
food, yes.
Right. So that's a connection. Absolutely. And I think he says it. I don't know where the passage is. I put it in bold. Oh, yeah, here it is. In the first paragraph, could you read that for us, Hazel? Let's just see the context.
From the article?
Yeah, it's there in the link.
Okay.
You don't have to have the article open because in the worksheet it's there too.
Okay.
So read the first paragraph for us.
In the past few decades, the fortunate among us have recognized the hazards of living with an overabundance of food, obesity, diabetes, and have started to change our diets. But most of us do not yet understand that news is to the mind what sugar is to the body.
Let's stop there for a second.
Okay.
How would you say that in your own words? That's a really interesting way to phrase it in English, right? Food is to the what was it? I just lost it.
Sugar is bad for the body because it causes diabetes, it causes obesity. So the news it's
according to the author, right?
According to the author, it's bad for our mind, exactly as sugar is bad for our body.
Right. So there's no nutrients in sugar, it's just pure calories, right? So it's the same basic idea. Quick hello to Natalie Aruju. Hi, Natalie. Thanks for joining us. You can open the link in the chat window to see what we're discussing and reading. Okay, so finish the paragraph there, Hazel, please.
Okay. News is easy to digest. The media feeds us small bites of trivial matter, tidbits that don't really concern our lives and don't require thinking. That's why we experience almost no saturation. Unlike reading books and long magazine articles, which require thinking, we can swallow limitless quantities of news flashes, which are bright colored candies for the mind. Today, we have reached the same point in relation to information that we faced 20 years ago in regard to food. We are beginning to recognize how toxic news can be.
How toxic news can be. Okay, so the bright colored candies that I was asking about are news flashes, right? So Mario, how would you describe a news flash? What's an example of a news flash?
Something, sorry?
Go for it, yes.
Something said quickly?
Something that, say again, something that happens quickly?
Said quickly.
Said quickly, okay, right. So, and Maria, can you think of a like a real life example of where you would see a news flash?
Well, a news flash is something that is reported like in real time almost, or as soon as possible after it happened. And yeah, of course, 9/11, or what do you call it?
9/11.
Yeah, that was a news flash. I mean, it was broadcasted seconds or minutes after it happened. So, and that was an example of a very important.
Right. And so it happens in real time, a news flash. Think of the old way newspaper reporters used to take pictures. They would have a flash bulb that would go off. So the idea of a news flash is something bright that catches your attention. And you're right, in real time, and it's happening, I wrote in the chat window, while it's unfolding, while the news is unfolding, happening in real time. Just a quick question. What else did I want to ask? Two more questions, two more comprehension questions to think about, and then I want to focus more on the debate. And we'll go back and read excerpts when they're necessary. Warren Buffett has a quote in here, and I'd like Mr. Ahmed to read that quote for us. That's comprehension question number 3, if you could.
Number 3. What does Warren Buffett mean by what the human being is best at doing is interpreting all new information so that their prior conclusions remain intact.
Excellent.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
And how do the media add to this according to the article or to the article?
It should be according to the article. Sorry, yeah. Okay. So everyone, think about this statement. I'm going to read it again. Think about it. What does Warren Buffett mean by, quote, what the human being is best at doing is interpreting all new information so that their prior conclusions remain intact. And according to the article, how do the media add to this phenomenon? First of all, Warren Buffett, who's that guy?
He's a rich guy.
He's a rich guy.
In the United States.
Business. And
yeah.
Business.
Is he in the media news industry or?
No, not exactly, but he's often on television.
Okay.
He's often on television, but does anyone know what he does? Natalie,
he makes money.
Natalie, do you know who Warren Buffett is?
Anyway.
Natalie, do you know who Warren Buffett is?
Real estate?
Yeah, you're getting warmer. Natalie, do you have your microphone on? Because I see you, but I don't hear you. Nope. Okay, we'll come back to you. What about Zineb? Hello, Zineb. Do you have your microphone on? Hello, Zineb? Okay. Listen, if you are having trouble with your microphone, I want you to write in the chat window. Just acknowledge that you hear me, okay? Mr. Hamed, are you there, Mr. Hamed? I saw you floating around. Mr. Hamed, are you back? He's got to get his microphone on because it always mutes you. Yes, I see. Hi, teacher. Excellent. Okay. Is your mic working, Hamed? If it is, flip it on. What's happening today? Mr. João Jr., can you tell us a little bit about Warren Buffett, if you know about him?
Teacher, I can't. I couldn't understand well what you're talking about.
Okay.
I'm kind of dispersed.
Okay, so if you look in the article, there's some questions on the top, right? Do you see the link to the article? And on the very top, there's 4 comprehension questions, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Number 3 is about Warren Buffett, right? You with me?
Okay. Yes. I'm with you.
Okay.
Number 3.
So who is Warren Buffett? We have some ideas. We know he's rich. We know he's on television. Do you know who he is?
No. I don't know who is the Warren Buffett.
Okay. That's why you're not answering. But that's all right. So Warren Buffett is a guy who happens to own some hotels. And he's very famous. Does anyone know why he's particularly famous? It's not really for the hotels. It's for his brain. Why is he a smart guy, according to most people who are into this stuff? Anyone know? What does he do with his money?
He's a philanthropist.
He is a kind of philanthropist. It's true. He's known for that. Philanthropist. Right. He is a philanthropist. That's true. And he is a famous investor. He invests in all kinds of things, commodities and currencies and bailouts and things like that. So that's how he's famous. What do you think about how this was used, this quote was used in the article? What the human being is best at doing is interpreting all, whoops, I can't see the text, is interpreting all new information so that their prior conclusions remain intact. Could someone put that in their own words? How would you say that in regular English?
Well, I guess he means that it prevails your prejudice. How do you say it?
Prejudice.
Prejudices. And if I'm not sure if that's what he means, but that could be an effect.
I think that is what he means. So say that again, just so I'm sure that I understand.
So that you're sure I can pronounce it.
Prejudices, if it's plural.
Prejudices.
Right,
he's afraid, or he's saying that the news might prevail your prejudices. Prejudices.
It's fine. It sounds good.
Okay.
The word prevail is not the best word here. I think you mean, you could say, reinforce, maybe.
Okay, reinforce.
Your prejudices.
Reinforce, make them stronger.
Okay, excellent. Another word for prejudiced is the word bias.
Biased is much more easy to say.
It's easy to say, and it's a good word which we're always going to use when we talk about media, because it's an issue with the media. Some people would say that it's good to be biased, not bad, because at least the truth is out, right? So different opinions about this. And the last question in comprehension is, do we need journalism according to the article?
No.
Do we need journalism? So Hazel says no, according to the article.
According to the article.
According to the article, no. Anyone else agree or disagree? Remember, not your opinion, the article's opinion. Anyone else agree or disagree? Hazel is the only one courageous enough to speak.
The article is already entitled by News is Bad for You.
The article is titled News is Bad for You. That's true. And so what? What's your point?
The author of the article is saying that you don't need to watch the news.
The author is saying that. You're right. Hold on a second. Sorry, I just need to type something. Not necessary. Hamid, you're right. You're right. The author is absolutely saying that. But is the author saying that journalism is not necessary? We don't need to watch the news according to the author, but do we need journalism itself? Hazel says no. Selma seems to be saying no. I'm not sure.
But we need journalism.
Hazel is flip-flopping. You're a flip-flopper. Hazel, you're a flip-flopper. Are you flip-flopping?
I said we need...
In other words, are you changing your opinion, or are you elaborating your opinion? By the way, just
I'm
a quick...
elaborating.
Let me just interrupt quickly, sorry.
Okay.
For Hamid and anyone else who joined late, it's not necessary to read the article now. We're going to discuss the issues. We are going to read some excerpts from it, but after class, if you haven't read it, you can read it, and there's a quiz at the end as well, and I'll supply the answers to that quiz. Sorry, go ahead, Hazel, you were saying?
Do
we need journalism?
The article says that we need journalism, but not all kind of articles which are which are not important.
Right. I'm going to ask...
only long articles, long journal articles.
Right, and we have a specific name for that as well. We'll see that in just a second. I'd like to ask Mario if you could read that passage from the article. It's paragraph number 13. Can you see that, paragraph 13, Mario?
13, okay.
At the bottom, you got to scroll down a little bit. It's on page 4 and 5.
How does it start?
There's a number 13 next to it, and it says Society
13.
Needs. See it?
No.
No? Can anyone see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Go for it, Mr. Hamid. I think you said yes first.
Society needs journalism, but in a different way.
Read slow, a little slower.
Okay.
Slow down.
Society needs journalism, but
Society. Let's start there. Society.
society needs journalism, but in a different way. Investigative journalism is always relevant. We need reporting that polices our
that polices. This is the word police, like the people with the guns and the helmets, but it's as a verb, not a noun. Here. It's a verb here, right? It's an action. To police. Keep going, Mr. Hamid.
That police our institution and uncover truth. But important findings don't have to arrive in the form of news. Long journal articles and in-depth books are good too. I have now gone without news for 4 years, so I can see, feel and report the effect of this freedom firsthand. Less distribution, less...
disruption.
Yeah, less disruption, less anxiety. Anxiety, sorry.
Good.
Deeper thinking, more time, more insights. It's not easy, but it's worth it.
It's not easy, but it's worth it. So what kind of journalism do we need? What do we call that kind of journalism, by the way?
Investigation.
Investigative
journalism.
Right, investigative journalism. Okay, great. Can you think of some types of investigative journalism?
Politicians must be.
Yeah, so some subjects might be in politics, right?
Yes.
Okay. And by the way, for anyone out there in the chat window, you're welcome to join class, but right now it's full, so you might not be able to get in. Okay. If anyone cannot speak, you might leave the class just this time to let someone who can speak in. When I say can't speak, I mean if your microphone doesn't work. It might be better if you're watching from the outside if you can't participate. Just letting you know. Okay, but if you're out there and a space opens, feel free to join. Okay, excellent. So let's jump into the debate. I've got a few questions for you. I'd like to start with the very last question, I think. Hold on a second. What was it? Where did I put my question? Where was it? Okay, I don't remember where it was. Yes, no, I don't know.
Number 10, shall I read? If you are someone who usually follows this?
Go for it, yeah.
If you are someone who usually follows the news, has there been a time when you decided to stop? Why and for how long?
Yeah, and here's what I'd like to do. As we start to debate, I'm going to give you some suggestions for keywords and expressions you can use. And there's two types of keywords we're going to be dealing with. Your opinion, how to give your opinion, and how to contrast your opinion with that of the author, right? Because we may not agree with what the article says. So we're going to look at those two types of words. And I'm going to keep notes at the bottom of the document. And then we'll look at them later, but I'll keep some notes as you're speaking. Okay, so you read that, Hazel. How would you answer that question? Let's start there.
I stopped reading news. I read only the titles from some journals from my country online.
Interesting. Why is that?
Because I don't like what's happening right now in my country regarding politics and elections and all kind of thing, and also the journalism. I think it's not good these days in my country. They talk about all kind of gossip and paparazzi thing. And when the news starts at broadcasting at TV, I can't bear to look at now because only.
Let me interrupt you just for a second. What do we call that paparazzi style journalism? I'd like to also hear for some people that I haven't spoken yet too, so I might call on a few people. Does anyone know what we call that when we are concerned with just celebrities and gossip? There's a name for that. By the way, Natalia, I'm going to need to just mute you because I'm getting a lot of noise from your connection. Okay, but when you're ready to speak, you can turn your mic back on. Does anyone know what we call that? It's also the name of the type of newspaper where you would read it. It's also the name of the type of newspaper where you would read it.
Scandal.
Tabloid.
Tabloid. That's it.
Yes.
Actually.
In my country.
And Mario, you were saying what?
Scandal news.
Right. It's scandal. It's news about scandals. Absolutely. About scandals. And the kind of newspaper is called a tabloid. So therefore we have tabloid journalism, investigative journalism, and then we have opinion journalism, and that's what we read today. Does anyone know what we would call this kind of article?
Editorial?
That's excellent. Editorial, and there's another name too. Editorial is one way.
Opinionated.
Opinion, right? It's a short version of the word opinion and editorial put together. Going once, going twice. The word is
I don't
not ed up, op-ed.
Op-ed.
Op-ed. Not ed up, but op-ed. And that means opinion editorial. Excellent.
Op-ed.
Okay. So, what else did I want to ask? Okay. Has anyone given up the news? Did anyone, or let me ask the opposite question too. Is anyone out there a news junkie? Is anyone out there a news junkie? Let me ask this question to Marcia, because I haven't heard from you yet. Hello, Marcia. Is your mic working?
Hello. My mic is okay. Thank you.
Excellent. Where are you from, Marcia?
I was born in Brazil, but I live in UK.
And you're living in the UK. Okay, excellent. Nice to have you with us. Bem-vindo a aula. Nice to have you. Marcia, let me ask you, are you a news junkie by any chance?
A news?
Junkie. Take a look in the chat window. Junkie.
It's the bad news, the gossip news.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so if you're a junkie, it has a bad meaning, but just like we have junk food, do people like junk food?
Yes, the people, especially here in UK, love junk food.
Right.
So that's
And you thought only in the US.
people like junk news as well.
So, Marcia, if you like junk food, you're a junkie for junk food.
Oh, okay, so I'm not junkie for junk news.
Excellent. Okay, so you're not a news junkie. You're not a news junkie. Do you? So let's go with a different question. Do you trust the information that you get? That's question number 9. Do you trust the information you get from the news?
Not very often.
Does anyone feel strongly about the opposite, that you really do trust the news that you get? I'm just curious. If you do, speak up, because I'd like to hear your opinion.
Well, my overall opinion is different than yours, but I cannot just summarize it in one sentence. So
you don't have to summarize it in one sentence. You have to become a talkaholic and talk as much as you want.
Talkative, yeah.
So go for it. What's your opinion, Maria?
About that particular question, like I said, my overall opinion is that news we cannot be very successful without having the news, because news about the world read on daily basis, it helps us understanding the development of the world.
Sorry.
Events. Yeah.
I'm just going to interrupt for a second. Marcia, I have to mute you because we're hearing your typing, but you can turn your microphone back on when you're ready to speak, okay? Sorry, go ahead, Maria.
Yeah, I also think that one news article does not give the full picture of events, but newspapers often follow up stories as long as the story have a news value. So if you are an active reader, you can piece together the information from different news articles and get a good idea about what is happening or going on in other countries.
So being an active reader is kind of an important skill.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I think the way you should read news is to scan the news and then skip the news that are not important. And then you should go more in depth and read the news that are interesting.
Okay. By the way, news is a plural word, right? But we often use it in the singular.
Verb.
Right. So you'd say like scan the news. The news, for us, at least in American English, counts as a singular word, singular idea, right? So not news are, but news is. It's weird, I know, but that's often how we say it. Whereas media is plural, so you would say the media are, because one media is medium. So that's why I say the news media are, not the news media is. Anyway, it's a minor point. It doesn't really matter. I agree with you completely, by the way. I feel the same way. But let's compare. Who am I seeing? I'm seeing someone I haven't seen before. Who is the guy with brown hair? Is that Hamid?
Francesco.
Francesco, where are you?
Nice to meet you.
Oh, you joined us late. Hi, Francesco.
Yes.
I didn't see you before. Okay. The
Talkaholic.
That's it. Some kind of a holic. I don't know if it's a talkaholic, but yeah. Francesco, if you need the link to the article we're talking about, it's there in the chat window. Take a look in the VerbLink chat, okay? Francesco?
Okay, thank you. Yes.
But I have one more opinion. I just want to say it before the class ends. Yeah, I think it seems, I haven't read the whole article, but it seems that he's obsessed with journalists.
Right.
And so perhaps he should just focus more on the work that they are doing, like the journalism itself.
Focus more on the journalism and less on the journalists.
Exactly.
Interesting point. What kind of article is this? Just to clarify that for people who haven't read it yet. For you, Maria, or for anyone, what kind of article is this? It's what we said earlier, remember?
No, I don't remember.
It's the one that you said.
Article.
That's it, Selma. It's an op-ed.
Op-ed. It's
right.
an opinion. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's his opinion.
Opinion editorial.
Right. And Selma, let me ask you, do you think that journalists exaggerate what they write about? This is question number 7.
Okay, teacher. Well, it depends on the kind of journals that you are going to read. If it is something related to society or sociology, they are all exaggerating, and you can sense.
They all exaggerate. They all exaggerate, not exaggerating. Keep going.
Yes, teacher. They all exaggerate, and you can sense that they are. There is some kind of interference of feelings. They are not objective, they are subjective. But when you go to scientific journals, they are just stating the truth as it is. So
Fascinating idea. Why would that be? Fascinating idea. And I'm inclined to agree with you. But why? Why would there be such a difference between the two types of media?
Because as human beings, we have we have some kind of prejudice and some background ideas. So we state the truth as we see it, and as we all people want to see it. For instance, the event that happened, I don't know, in the U.S. They stated the truth that all the American people want to hear, but they didn't state the uncovered truth.
Right.
The covered truth. Which
they stated things that were absolutely not true, absolutely the opposite of the truth. If you're talking about Boston, you mean?
Yes, teacher.
Yeah, it was completely untrue. The initial reports, they were completely false. And they got into, and the news media, some of them are going to get into trouble. We don't know what will happen because what they stated was wrong, completely wrong. So that's I'm not teacher. I'm Jon-Eric. Okay, Selma, we're friends.
Okay.
Jon-Eric or Yo Dude, either way. All right, it's up to you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good point. Boston was a very huge news story, and it's still going on, of course. Very, very good point. Because the initial reports, I don't know if you followed this, but the initial reports came out, and what did they say?
They
What
said
kinds of...
that there are two brothers that were involved in this bomb attack, and they were from Russia. The one was killed, and the other one was cut.
Right, injured.
Injured. And what is the contradiction in that article is that if he really if he really did that crime, why he would show himself? Why didn't he hide? Because
well,
they said that they found him on a boat.
Yeah.
Yes, but I don't think that it's true.
Well, no, it could be true. I mean, it could be true, but there's a more obvious contradiction, a more obvious one, which is that
nationality. They're
American, right? They may have been born in Chechnya or wherever, but they're American. They're citizens. And the first thing that happened, right, was that they showed these pictures of people. They described them as whatever. I don't even need to repeat it. You know what they say.
Like losers, and they hate everyone.
Right. And of course, the truth is never that simple. So let me ask, Mr. Hamed, is your mic working? Because I haven't heard from you too much.
Yes, I hear you.
Okay. So I'd like to, just so I give everyone a chance to speak, when you watch the news, are you interested in the story or more interested in the person delivering the story? This is question number 4. By the way, if you have other questions or points, feel free to bring them up. I'm just getting some points of discussion out of the way, and we can continue this discussion in another class. We can try to look at this issue from another point of view. So it's all up to us as a group what we want to do. But let me ask you that, Hamed. Are you more interested in the story or the newscaster who's presenting it? Stupid question, huh?
No. I'm more interested in stories because stories can express something news and maybe it give us the reality. I mean, but sometimes maybe the stories talked are faked and as you know, the media, we should not trust him because they fake the story. I don't know how to say it.
They fake the story. You mean that they lie, or that they exaggerate? Go ahead, Ahmed. You were going to add something.
They might fabricate.
Fabricate. Wow, what a big word, college word. Fabricate. That's Ahmed in his very polite way of saying that they're full of. Oh, I can't say that word. I'm sorry.
You can say it.
No, I can't.
You don't need to.
No, there are children watching in some part of the world. I can't say bad words. I'm sorry. But yeah, fabricate means to lie, right? To make it up, to lie, to fabricate. Let me ask you a question, because we're going to run out of time. And Selma, so you have some strong ideas, and I agree with you completely about what you were saying. So how would you change the media if you could? If there was something that you could do, well, there is something that you can do, of course. But how would you change it? Let's start with Selma, just because she brought up the Boston situation. How would you change it if you could? And then I'd like to hear what the rest of the group thinks and some other ideas.
Well, teacher, in my own opinion, if it was in my hand, I would not delete. It's like delete the journal, the media in whole.
Delete? I'm sorry. Delete? Did you say?
Yes, teacher.
Delete? You mean get rid of the media?
Yes, teacher. Get rid.
Really? Get rid of the media completely? Wow.
No, the one who are in relation to the society, but one with scientific advancement. No, I don't want to do that because I want, I want to people have their own opinion. I don't want them. I don't want them to be influenced by the journals or the other kind of mass media.
The other kind of mass media is called outlets, just so you know. Outlets. News outlets. Good word for you. I don't want people to be influenced by other kinds of news outlets or journalism.
Yes.
But let me ask you, let's ask that one to Maria. I think you might disagree with Selma on this point, right, Maria?
I can hear everything she said, but
she's saying that she basically thinks we ought to, I don't know if she means literally get rid of, but at least reduce the influence of the media so that people can get, they can form their own opinions about what's going on. But you have a different way of looking at it.
But
right?
it's easy. You can just skip what you don't want to read. I mean, it's optional.
It's optional.
You can just opt out. You don't need the newspaper. You don't need the online newspapers either if you don't want to. But for people that are really actually having an interest in the world.
People aren't having an interest. People have.
Have an
Good.
interest in what is happening in the world.
Current events, for example.
Current events, yes.
Current events, that's what's happening in the world. Current events. These are just suggestions.
Yeah, and I have another suggestion. If you want to, if you think the news are so bad, why
if you
don't
think the news
is bad, the only thing to change is that you go there and make the news yourself.
You go there and make the news yourself. Interesting. How would you do that? Give me one suggestion. One idea, because I'd like to hear from Mario too, because he's in broadcast. So Maria, what's your one suggestion of making the news yourself?
Yeah, take a job at the newspaper and make the news yourself, or start a newspaper that you...
Okay, yeah, let's all go start a newspaper. Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that after class. I'm just kidding. Yes, you could. You could. Mr. Mario, you work in broadcast, right?
Yeah, a kind of, yes.
A kind of broadcast, a kind of post-production. So what suggestion would you have besides starting your own media outlet? Do you have another suggestion? You're media savvy. Savvy means smart. You're media savvy.
So I don't think that... I think it's just like Maria said. If you just have to choose the information that you want to read. For my part, I give up everything about information because I don't believe about the information. All information, it's depending about.
It depends on
a kind of situation, a context. Things like this, it's always politic. It's always driven by someone who want to inform.
By the way, that is an excellent expression. It's always driven by someone's interests. Excellent expression. Always driven by someone's interests. Listen, everyone, we're going to run out of time, but we've barely scratched the surface on this issue. I'm going to post the answers to the word hunt quiz, which I put at the end, right? The end of the article. Oh, where is it? Where is it? There it is. Okay, after discussion, it says word hunt, and the word hunt is only for the words that are in bold. For example, number 1 is not difficult to comprehend, and I put a 1 so you know it's somewhere in the first paragraph, right? So I'll post the answers later today. But if this interests you, this topic interests you, let's look at another article that looks at it from a different point of view. Just let me know on my Facebook page or my Google Plus page, and I'd be happy to do this class again and look at some different opinions. But for now, we're going to have to stop. Listen, one last thing. I didn't put in a lot of keywords and expressions because our discussion was, well, it was good and I lost track of it, so I didn't put a lot. But I'm going to start to do this. I'm going to put a few expressions at the bottom of the page for you to think about for the next time, and I'm going to put them in categories, like giving your opinion, like politely interrupting, because when you're having a discussion, you sometimes have to cut people off. I'm going to put a few suggestions there for you to think about, and in our next Talkaholic class, which is tomorrow at the same time, feel free to use those and add to them. So for tonight, I have to say good night, but I'll be back tomorrow, and I hope to see you very soon.
Okay.
Good night.
Okay. Okay. Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye. Happy news.
Thank you for the class.
Bye bye.
Bye.